5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Testing, testing, testing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And as
Right now on the National Weather Desk, here comes winter. Heavy snow hits the west, making driving conditions hazardous.
you're going to get to your destination as long as you travel safely.
Speaking of winter, are you ready to keep warm when the temperature drops?
You should turn on the heat in your home when the interior of your home reaches as cold as 64 degrees.
Bah humbug. Concerns are growing in some states over a shortage of the most popular Christmas tree.
It's a variety of economic factors dating back to the recession, leading to a limited supply this year.
And in today's social meteorology, new tips on cooking in high altitudes and multiple views of a waterspout outbreak.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Veronica Johnson. We start every morning with the day's big weather stories. And this morning, it's all about that heavy snow that fell across parts of California and Oregon. It's the first snow of the season in the Sierras. Driving along major highways like I-80 was hazardous with reduced speed limits and some closures. For more, we head to Nyack, California, and reporter Laura Hafley.
The first snowfall of the season shut down California roadways. Tuesday afternoon, drivers traveling along I-80 felt the effects of Sierra snow.
Be patient. You can't be in a hurry. Just be okay with 25 miles an hour.
Angela Sneed, her sister Ellie Drasenga, and their new puppy driving from Roseville toward Reno.
This is her first snow.
Made a pit stop in Nyack.
Full tank of gas, a case of water, and a couple packages of beef jerky.
But just moments after their family refueled, Caltrans closed I-80 after spinouts caused chaos along the roadway. Caltrans spokesperson Raquel Barrio says the agency pre-positions 150 pieces of snow equipment to clear roadways as soon as snow falls.
We actually have staff that drive the highways. They're looking at what the conditions are like. We've got graders, we've got plowers. We might bring in our blowers to help move snow off onto the shoulder areas.
To clear the highway quickly for drivers and tractor trailers carrying millions of dollars of commercial goods daily. I-80 is back open. The speed limit is 30 miles per hour. Caltrans asking all drivers to take it slow.
Most of that story was shot very close to Donner Pass. It's a place made infamous by a tragedy that unfolded there around this time of the year, back in the mid-1800s. We've got much more on that tragedy and the role that weather played coming up in about 10 minutes here on the National Weather Desk. Well, snow was also falling yesterday in the mountains of East Medford, Oregon. As much as a foot was expected in the highest of elevations. A winter weather advisory that was put in place yesterday expires later this morning. And Hurricane Lisa moving closer to the coastline of Central America. Landfall expected later today somewhere around Belize City. Hurricane warnings are posted for the coast of Belize as well as portions of Mexico and Honduras. Folks in Belize are preparing for the possibility of a large storm surge. Also in the Atlantic is Tropical Storm Martin. This storm just north of Bermuda, far enough away from the United States. It's expected to continue moving in that northeastward fashion and could approach Ireland by Monday. And parts of Europe just experienced their warmest October on record. According to the World Meteorological Organization, the record warmth happened in France, Switzerland, Austria, and most likely Germany. In France, the average temperature was about 63 degrees, which is more than 6 degrees above average. Well, with Halloween now in our rearview mirror and Thanksgiving just 3 weeks away, Christmas is quickly coming into focus, but in some parts of the country, there is a shortage of Fraser firs, the most popular Christmas tree. Reporter Rex Hodge is outside Asheville, North Carolina with the story.
In my tracks where I came down the other night.
Jerry Maccabee says you've got to have resilience and commitment growing Christmas trees. 50,000 Fraser firs on his fields. He says 2008 took a toll.
So a lot of farms went out of business, and when people quit selling trees, they quit planting trees.
Then nurseries, he says, stopped producing seedlings.
The people that were still in business, they wanted to replant, but we couldn't because the nursery suppliers, it took them 3 years to catch up with us.
In more recent years, demand started coming back, but then COVID years and fewer customers coming out. Finally, by last year, the farm was hopping, but the sequence of events had supply and demand out of sync.
We were overwhelmed the first 10 days we were open. We sold our quota.
Wait years for these trees to grow and get the inventory back up.
Patience is the name of the game.
This year, Maccabee says it's much the same. He's looking at rationing and prorating his crop.
The people who are in business, you know, they're low on inventory.
Low supply will add up to higher prices, especially, Maccabee says, with higher production costs, too.
Fertilizer is 3 times the price this year as it was 2 years ago. The herbicides we use, it's doubled or tripled. The pesticides have doubled, tripled, quadrupled.
It all adds up to Fraser firs like this, costing up to 20% more this year, Maccabee says.
Using the 8-foot tree as an average, that price is going to run anywhere from 125 to 150, probably.
Now to a segment that we call Social Meteorology. This is where we turn to the social media posts from 3 of our 200 meteorologists across the nation. They are typically sharing information to help you better understand the weather. And today's first stop is Mobile, Alabama, and meteorologist Alan Seals.
They're on the Gulf Coast, Saturday, October 29th, 2022. These are waterspouts. They're also tornadoes. These videos were submitted to Chime In by Wendy Pilcher and Evan Bailey. They show waterspouts in different phases from different perspectives. It's not like a fair weather waterspout that happens on a sunny day. These were driven by severe thunderstorms with cores that rotated. And the video you're seeing here from Leo Jin, that shows just one of more than a half dozen tornadoes that occurred. Again, in this case, it's a tornado over water, and these occurred around the Mobile Bay area and surrounding counties. Even though fall is still hurricane season, it can be severe weather season on the central Gulf Coast. I'm meteorologist Alan Seals.
Hi there, I'm meteorologist R.J. Heim in southern New England. Not only do we have great foliage late October into the first couple days of November, but we also get what's often referred to as sea smoke. What's sea smoke? No, it's not that 1972 song from Deep Purple. Classic rock fans will get the reference. But it happens when very cold air flows over warmer waters. Our air temperature along the coast was 30 degrees Sunday morning. and the water temperature is about 60. That shallow layer of warm air at the sea surface is cooled lower than the dew point temperature of the air just above it, so it condenses, producing that sea smoke. Smoke on the water. Michelle Antonio caught the picture too. Foggy morning in Narragansett. It all burned off. We got up to 65 by the afternoon.
The boiling point of water is lower if your elevation is higher. This can impact cooking things like candy, where you have to bring it to a maximum temperature. How do you figure out what maximum temperature to bring it to if you live at a high elevation? My friend Chef Brian Woolley explains.
Be sure that if you're at a higher elevation, you check the temperature of the water boiling at your house. It should boil at 212 degrees at sea level in Fahrenheit. Then you're going to subtract that temperature from whatever it says in your thermometer. So at my elevation, it's 205 degrees. That's a 7-degree difference. And so when you are making candies or baking or cooking and you have a boiling point that's necessary, be sure to adjust those boiling point temperatures so you know you got the right temperature when you're boiling.
So there you go. Subtract your boiling point from 212 degrees. You can take that amount off of the maximum temperature in your recipe.
Well, the extreme drought that's impacting the Mississippi River has exposed another hidden treasure. Hey, this is the Diamond Lady. It's an old casino riverboat in Memphis, Tennessee. After it was replaced by a bigger riverboat in the late 1800s, it sat unused for years. It then sank in severe storms last year. But with river levels being so low, the entire boat is now visible again. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, pigs gone wild. The role California's drought is playing on wild pigs in residential neighborhoods. And as energy prices soar, we have information to help you stay warm at home without breaking the bank. But first, hey, let's test your weather wit. Precipitation that vaporizes before making it to the Earth's surface is known as what? Is it fog? Is it virga, cloud droplets, or haze? The answer right after this short break.
Hi, everyone. I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We have a big bubble of high pressure that is building into the Northeast today, tomorrow, heading into late week here. As long as we have that over us, that means we have a lot of sunshine and comfortable temperatures. Yeah. If anything, we're going to notice warmer temperatures later in the week and more so into the weekend as the high slides offshore. Southwest wind should allow for a big warm-up. As far as today goes, look for afternoon temperatures running the 60s with a lot of sun. Enjoy.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Starting off with some 40s and 50s, but how about this sunshine during the day on our Wednesday, leading to lots of temperatures up into the low 70s, maybe some of the higher elevations and areas north in the 60s. But either way, above average, nice for this time of year. Fair weather high pressure is our fair weather friend and our latest weather maker, and probably stays with us all the way through the end of the week. That's the scene here.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your forecast for the southeast highs of the day. It looks like we're going to continue to see those temperatures warming into the mid-70s, upper 70s, low 80s as you get towards the Gulf Coast. We're looking at 80 in Pensacola, Mobile coming in 81 degrees. Nashville 75, 72 Raleigh, 88 in Tampa, a nice warm one. Sun and clouds expected throughout much of the afternoon. We do have a few high thin clouds working their way through, but we'll get more clearing through the overnight. A few spotty showers over South Florida through the afternoon, evening.
Before the break, we asked you to identify precipitation that vaporizes before making it to the Earth's surface. Hopefully you got the answer. It is B, virga. It happens when precipitation falls from the base of a cloud but evaporates when it hits drier air on the way down. And that is why we never see it at ground level and it remains dry, but the radar can still pick it up. Here's an example here. This one captured in the photo that you're seeing from Thomas Harris of Traverse City, Michigan. All right, now let's check to see the weather in cities across the country today. First up, the creative capital, Providence, Rhode Island. You couldn't ask for a better November day in New England. Sunshine and a high temperature just under 70 degrees. And next up, we're going to head to Texas, the Alamo City. No rain expected today, but plenty of clouds. They're looking at a high temperature there of 76 degrees this afternoon. And the forecast is practically a carbon copy in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The scenic city will see partly sunny skies today and a high temperature of 75. And then finally, we're going to turn to Iowa, the key city, Dubuque, right along the Mississippi River. It's going to be a great day there also with sunshine and a high temperature around 75 degrees. Well, it was early November 1846 when the infamous Donner Reed Party set out on their ill-fated journey across America. They encountered incredibly harsh winter conditions before they were able to complete their journey. Emily Gracie spoke with meteorologist Matt Monroe about conditions in Donner Pass this time of the year to get a better understanding as to what the pioneers experienced on this deadly trip.
They started off in Illinois. They wanted the dream of settling in the Oregon Territory, which is, of course, California. So they had to go all the way from Illinois, cross the Rocky Mountains, cross the Sierra Nevada, and get into California before the winter snows hit. And a normal trip like that took 4 to 6 months and about 15 miles a day. So they were kind of crawling across America in sometimes uncharted and very hostile territory as well. So there's a lot of danger involved in the trip too.
So you're in Reno. You're kind of an expert as far as the weather locally there. They made it as far as your area late October. So right about this time of year.
Yeah.
What went wrong? What happened at that point?
They decided to take a route called the Hastings Cutoff, which was supposed to cut off time. Instead, it added 18 days to their journey. It was very hard crossing the desert there of Utah. They got to the border of Utah and Nevada, and they rested for 5 days. They were exhausted, and they gambled a little bit that the snow wouldn't happen until mid-November, and they'd be up and over the pass. And they got so close, within about 3 miles of the summit, and then the huge snow started to come down. And we're talking feet and feet of snow.
That's when things got really dark, right?
That's when, of course, they're running out of food and, reports of cannibalism. They were boiling their shoes, eating straps of leather from the oxen. Of course, they ate the oxen too. They ate everything they could.
Some of them did make it out to tell the tale. There were some survivors that made it to the destination.
And again, the rescue party did come, and they were eating everything they could just to kind of buy time. Think of the Donner Party with oxen and women and children and men and covered wagons on rocky dirt trails, no plows, no nothing, running out of food in the elements. It's just crazy to think that even, 45 people survive that. That's really the amazing part, that 45 people actually survived that.
As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, there was heavy snowfall in that same region yesterday, making travel by car hazardous. So early November snow does happen there. We posted the extended version of that interview on our YouTube channel. Just search for the National Weather Desk, and that's where you can always find our interview segments, weather lessons, and so much more. Oh, while temperatures are still fairly mild across much of the country, there will come a time very soon when you may start to think about cranking up the heat. The U.S. government actually has recommendations to help you decide when to turn it on. Meteorologist Christina Earn is in Providence now with the details.
Turn the heat on in your home yet? The Department of Energy recommends that you should turn on the heat in your home when the interior of your home reaches as cold as 64 degrees, but you should keep the interior of your home in the upper 60s if you have small children at home or elderly adults.
Of course, it's also up to personal preference if you don't mind bundling up.
But if you're worried about rising energy costs, some ways that you can cut those costs is that when you're gone during the daylight hours or when your house receives direct sunlight, drop down the interior of your house by 5 to 7 degrees. That'll keep it cooler when you're not home and save you some dollars. You can also drop down the temperature when you're asleep at night. Just don't forget to add a few extra blankets before you go to bed.
Ernie posted this on TikTok. Other meteorologists on our team regularly post to Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We follow all of them. So if you follow the National Weather Desk on all of our social media platforms, you'll stay up to date on all the weather news and information. Well, California has been dealing with severe drought, and the situation is causing a unique problem there. Hundreds of wild pigs are taking over parts of the state, and residents in the area are taking matters into their own hands to keep their yards and flower beds safe. Let's head to Shasta County in Northern California, where Anna Montemore explains.
Wild pigs are nothing new in California. In fact, they are a non-native species that has been around for years, as common to see as a deer in some places.
What we see, especially in a drought year, is when the resources on the landscape dry up, the natural resources, pigs turn to some of our developed communities for food and water.
But in their search, they destroy yards, flower beds, and other parts of properties in rural areas, like the Lake California community.
Last Thursday, I was riding my bike, and these two older folks were out in front of their house. They have what's known as one of the most beautiful lawns in the whole community, and it was completely trashed. So I thought, oh gosh, there's got to be a better way. So that's when I started thinking about putting it up here. And then I realized that my neighbors right on the next road have had a lot of damage, and I thought, I've got to do this right away.
With just a few supplies, Gail found a way to keep the pigs out of her yard, and she figured she would help her neighbors too.
Get a small box, a little electrical charging box, and the wire that goes with it. They have a little post on the top of it where you hook up the hot wire and the ground in order to ground your electricity. And then, you know, pigs don't jump. They're not like the deer.
You're not going to be handling this.
No, so this is plenty high. I made 4 strands of it, and they're roughly 6 inches apart, and it was very easy to do.
This is a result of California's infamous drought.
Pigs are turning to easier resources, right? Because it's so dry out on the landscape. Once we get some rains in California, the pig problem magically goes away for the time being.
Making Gail's solution perfect during dry months of the year.
Staying with animals, we can't get enough of those trail cameras and the wildlife they capture. Here's another great example. This was taken in Winder Valley in southwestern Virginia earlier this month. At least one bear appears to be a little curious as he checks out the camera. As far as we know, these bears didn't cause any problems, but just a few miles away last week, a nearby camping site along the Appalachian Trail was shut down because of a reported aggressive bear. So if you are out in the woods, be careful. Now a look back on this day in weather history. 1989, snow squalls in the upper Great Lakes region brought intense snowfall. Ironwood, Michigan saw 46 inches of snow the first 3 days of the month, and Arctic cold invaded the southern plains.
Well, a very good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael taking a look at your weather story across the Midwest today. Let me go back there because we're going to be dealing with a nice day. We're going to get into the 60s and 70s across most of the Midwest for today. A lot of sunshine, a few more clouds out by the Ohio Valley. Tomorrow we got a few showers sneaking their way into the plains here, but temperatures still running above normal for most of us. The Dakota's colder, only highs in the 40s tomorrow. That rain continues moving east as we head into your Friday. Warm ahead of it, cool behind it.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. Things are a little bit warm this morning. We're looking at 70s and 60s and some 50s out across the region. It's because of all that Gulf moisture that got punched into the region. We're watching a very weak low and a little bit of a stationary front. Some sprinkles maybe up along the Texas coast throughout the day, but for the most part, we'll see plenty of sunshine. And yes, temperatures are going to be warming up again above the normal, near 80 degrees down deep into South Texas. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hello and happy Wednesday morning to everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. New month, new weather. It's starting to get cooler around here as we head deeper into November. Just 30s now for highs out of Jackson Hole right near Yellowstone. 60s around the coastline of California, 57 in the city by the bay. Scattered showers around Seattle and Portland today will keep temperatures back into the 40s. This big disturbance heading through the Rockies bringing snow to the Continental Divide as we head into Wednesday afternoon. And that's the scene from here.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
The perfect weather recipe for fall leaves in the Mid-Atlantic. Here's Pennsylvania meteorologist Tom Russell.
The warm days, cool nights, and just the right amount of rainfall to make these colors pop. Oh, and one more thing. No big storms to knock the leaves off the trees. But their days are numbered, so take the time to soak up this beauty while it lasts. Happy fall.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
And we love producing this show and love the content that we get from our team of meteorologists. Another favorite part of the program is showcasing those awesome images that we get from our viewers across the nation. Most of the time, yeah, our content is weather related, I guess you can say. This is 13-year-old Buddy caught on camera enjoying the backyard. And it looks like Buddy's getting a bit of sunshine there, right? Well, let's go to Maine along the Sheepscot River. There's actually a bridge in that photo somewhere, but it is lost in the fog. And in Maryland, this sunset over a cornfield earlier this week. Doesn't that look stunning? Oh, amazing. Well, we would love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us all over your favorite social media platforms, from Facebook to Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search NatWX Desk, National Weather Desk. Another great show tomorrow on the National Weather Desk. A look at the dark sky movement and what members are doing to protect night skies from light pollution, making it easier to see the stars. Thanks for joining us. I'm meteorologist Veronica Johnson. Make it a great Wednesday and keep an eye on the sky.